there were 2 fingers missing.
Shouldn't be laughing at this, but yeah, go ahead.
Hi Brendan,
Hi, Abel.
how are you?
Great.
So nice to be here with you.
I know, it sounds a little...
Hey, what is
It's
this?
like
Is
an
this a
adult.
podcast or is this an interview you do regularly?
I think it's an interview.
a video of you.
What, an interview of... Okay, let's start. Let's start. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello everyone.
I'm here with Abel, my good friend Abel. So let's find out about Abel. Abel, you have been into magic for how long and how did it start? This whole journey of magic.
Yeah, this is a cliche usually, but in my case it's a bit different.
Okay.
I come from Romania. So as you probably know already, Romania was withdrawn in the communism times. So when I was a little kid, we didn't have much access to magic as you have here or other countries.
Yeah.
There was, of course, no internet, but we also had no books or big names, magic names that we can get inspired by.
Yes.
But like any other countries, we had magicians as legends in stories. So later on, when I grew up, I was about 6 years old when I've seen a real magician came to my school and he did a show for us.
Okay.
And that was the moment I saw that magicians are actually real. Somebody can do real magic.
And how old were you?
I was about 6 years old.
Wow, 6 years old. And you remember that?
I do remember, and I do remember every single bit in his act. And I will tell you why I remember this.
Why?
Because I loved it so much that I told myself for the first time, I want to be a magician. And when I'm going to grow up, I will be a magician.
That's amazing to have that.
It is amazing. And the amazing part is that I've met this magician 15 years later, or maybe 10 years later.
Oh my God.
And I recognized him and I told him, you've been to my city when I was a little kid. And he said, yes. And then I told him, you've done this and that and this and this and this. And he got shocked. Like, how do I remember every single detail in his show? And I told him that I'm a magician myself. By that time already I've learned a few, I don't like to call them tricks, but a few magical effects. And I showed it to him. And he said, wow, a lot of times people come to me and they say they're magicians, but you actually, you know what you're talking about.
That's great.
And he asked me, would you like to come in tour with me?
Wow.
So
oh my God.
Just a few months later, he took me touring in the whole Romania with him. And we toured together. So there I was touring with that magician that
What's his
inspired
name, if you don't
me.
mind me
Yes,
saying?
his name is Cornelis. He died. I've met his assistant. Recently she visited us to our house in Romania. And his name is Cornelis. He was a classic magician. He had a Orson Welles beard and voice as well, very thick, and he could perform like one little trick in 15 minutes, making like big magic around it. And
Wow.
great magician. So I toured with him, but after the 3rd show, he said, you know what? You're good enough. I'm not gonna go on stage anymore. You just go and perform yourself.
Wow.
So I did his tour when I was 16 years old with him.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a great memory.
That is so good. It's just wonderful how you inspire someone when you're performing. You never know. That's why I tell you, magicians watching this, you're out there, you're performing. You never know whose life you're going to change. And it sounds like a big deal, but it did change your life.
Definitely.
At 6 years old, you decided that's what I want to do. And I always have time. You know, sometimes kids can be quite annoying when it comes to weddings and that sort of thing. But I always take my time and chat with the kid. Maybe I'll teach them a little trick or two. I love inspiring people. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to be like this guy you met, Cornelius,
Yes.
and inspire someone. And you know, even though he's passed away, his name is living on with you. And that's, you know, sort of talking about the main sort of subject. But I get very emotional about stuff like this because it's just, this is how you live on forever. One of the reasons why I do this channel on YouTube is because I know when I'm dead and gone, people can still watch this stuff. I don't know for how long YouTube's going to be, but it's going to be there forever. Well, until the internet gets destroyed, you know, until these videos get destroyed. And that's why I make these videos. So that's amazing. So after that,
I can tell you another little story
Please,
connected
tell
to
me.
this. There was in the 2nd grade, so I've seen this magician on the 1st grade, and in the 2nd grade our teacher asked us to write on a paper our names and the date, and she asked us to write what we would like to be and do when we grow up. So of course I wrote that I would like to be a magician. Everybody else would like to be policemen, and they would like to be pilots and so on. And she laughed a little bit about it. You want to be a magician? She doesn't see that every day. And you know what? 20 years later, we had a gathering, a meeting, like school reunion.
Oh my God.
And she brought those papers. And not only from our class, but the whole school. I was the only guy who did exactly what he wished 20 years before.
That's amazing.
That was amazing.
That's
Yes.
a great. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. I love to hear stuff like this. That's so beautiful. Wow. Okay, so now and then after that, your career took you down the cruise liners. Was it immediately or that's later?
This happened way later. This happened just in the past 5 years.
Okay.
How I started in the professional, in the show business part of magic. I was about 16 years old. I was in high school when I told myself, okay, I'm not gonna learn. This was before I started touring with the magician. I told myself, I have to learn better magic, because the way I could learn magic in Romania was catch some magician on TV, record it on tape, and then watch that again and again and figure out how they do it. And those videos, like Masters of Illusionists or so on, they were just on Christmas or some holiday. So I've been waiting for those holidays. Maybe they will show a magician on TV. And I was going through the channels. I was afraid even to go to the toilet. I was afraid because they might show a magician. And when it was, there it was. I recorded, and it made me happy for months. I would watch that again and again and again. So I told myself, I have to go in a different country, a bit more evolved country where I could learn magic. And the closest country to Romania where I could go, and I thought I can do that, it was in Hungary, in Budapest. And I was only 16 years old when I took my backpack. I told my mother, I'm going there. And there I was on my own, going in a total different country with money just to live a few days, and that's it. And after a few days, of course, I had no more money, so I took my only deck of cards and I cut the kings and the aces and made the gimmick where you can change 4 cards into a different cards. And I found a circus somewhere, and I go in front of the circus, and when people came out from the show, I would show them this trick and I sell them to them. And this is how I made money to move on and buy ticket for a different city, where luckily I did find a way to perform street magic, and in one day I managed to earn twice as much as my mother in a whole month as a teacher. And that was in my vacation. I was 16 years old. So this is how I had some money to buy some props, because there was a magic show, a magic shop in Budapest. But when I arrived there, I had no money to buy. I was just dreaming. I wish I had money to buy. So I made that money. I managed to save some money in that other city, in Boloton. And with that money, I go back straight to Budapest. And that was when I bought my first props. With the money I made, I earned from the street show.
So rewarding.
And the street shows, at one point, police came and they asked me, sorry, we cannot let you do the magic shows. And I thought they were going to arrest me or something. But they apologized and said, the crowd is so big, people cannot cross the street anymore. So that's where I got the, when I say props, that means a Svengali deck for me. I never had a Svengali deck. For me, that was a big thing. A table, some ropes, and like the color changing book, but it wasn't made for kids. It was a different version of it.
Yeah.
For me, that was gold. It was amazing. You cannot imagine the value of the Svengali deck.
Yeah.
I barely had normal playing cards, but the Svengali deck, that was amazing.
That's amazing.
And those were the effects I showed to the magician when I met him years later, and when I impressed him by remembering his whole act, because I love magic. I do love magic.
That's a true, genuine story, which I think is incredible. It just goes to show you how hard work can pay off, and just meeting the people you respect and you look up to is such a wonderful and powerful. And then later you went on the cruise liner.
Yes, you're interested about the cruise thing.
Well, let me say not that, because it's just I know you from the time I met you. I met you as this cruise liner magician doing shows.
I wasn't doing the cruise lines
Oh,
when we
back
met.
then you were street performing, wasn't it?
I was
Well,
doing
how did we
close-ups.
meet?
I still do it. This is what I do in London. I have a few
Oh, I think I know, yeah.
residencies where I do close-up magic.
Yeah.
But
Central, yeah.
I do close-up busking.
Busking, yeah.
Close-up busking.
Yeah.
This is what I do here.
Yes, and that's what we were supposed to do. So just to let you know, I did film an interview with Abel a while ago, but then I think my battery ran out. So this time I've charged my battery fully, and this is a while ago. So we did speak about it. We wanted to speak about close-up busking, but I think I'm so carried away with what his whole life story of magic is, and I think I want to share that with you. So although this video might be a little longer, I'm sure you will get something from this, and I think that's important. So let's talk about your busking in restaurants.
Okay, so when you've met me, I took you to one of the places where I was doing magic
Yes.
to show you that you can earn good
Yes.
from close-up busking if you do it the proper way.
Right. Yeah.
And my whole trick and my whole strategy around it is make real strong, really good magic, and they will definitely tip you.
Yes.
Especially if you let them know somehow, in a diplomatic, elegant way, you accept tips.
Yeah.
Because they might not tip you, not because they don't want, they just don't want to offend you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you let them know somehow, you accept tips, then you can earn really well and really fair, well-deserved money.
Yeah.
But the whole secret of it is be very short and very powerful, strong. I'm not gonna say life-changing, but day-changing magic. You
Yeah.
have to give something very strong. And this is
Yeah.
when we met for the first time, when I took you to that restaurant and I
Right.
showed you.
Yeah.
And you liked it. You liked
love
that.
it, yeah.
You liked what I've done there, and the levitation, floating
build,
note.
yes,
I do
yes, yes,
floating.
yes.
A
And I
floating
like how
note.
bold you are with that too. I don't want to go into more details about this because it's a YouTube channel and this is to the public, but there's methods that Abel uses and it's very bold and I liked it. I liked how bold he was with doing some of the methods. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, he makes a note levitate right in front of the spectator's view. I mean, it's in between two people and as a 20-pound, that's levitating, which is great. So speaking about that, we'll come back to where you can see Abel now because I don't think, do you still bust now?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do. I
Do you
love
have
it.
any, I love listening to stories of it. Do you have any stories, any funny stories or the worst thing, you know,
I
things
have,
that went wrong?
I have a lot of stories, but if I started talking about the restaurant, I will tell you why. Because he asked me about the cruises,
Okay.
and this took me to the cruises. And in United States, there is a cruise line company which hires close-up magicians.
Okay.
And because I've done this so many years around the restaurants for tips here, I became very good at approaching people.
Okay.
So when they hired me there and people knew they're a magician, my attitude was that I could go very fast in and impress people in cruise ships restaurants.
Yeah.
And this is how I started as a close-up magician, but on cruise ships,
Wow.
where a lot of people thought I'm gonna perform a big show as well, and they asked for it. Where can we see the magician?
Yeah.
And that's where they asked me, people want to see you, would you like to do a big show for them? And this is how we started, and they offered me to do a big show where usually perform only special artists that they book like me. Now they book me to do those big shows, but before I wasn't in that area.
Right.
They just, people came and they said, we prefer to see this guy than the magician. I'm sorry for whoever was there, than the magician you showed us. So this is how they offered me the chance to perform on the big stage. We had good results, good reviews, and this is how they start booking me for the big theaters, like
Wow.
1,000 plus. So
So you did it for how long?
I still do it.
Okay.
Next week I'm going to Iceland for
Wow.
18 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I have to perform only 2 shows. The rest of 16 days I can just relax and enjoy
That's amazing.
the beautiful sights. And the amazing part is that one of the days of the cruise will stop in Edinburgh.
Oh.
So I can go to the festival, as well.
The Edinburgh Festival.
So I can go to the festival and see some
Wow.
magicians around.
Do you know what? I've never been to the Edinburgh Festival.
Me neither. What a
Oh,
great
that's
chance.
great. That's a great opportunity for you. I always thought it's in peak season. I think it's August, isn't it? July, August. End of
Yep.
July, August.
Yep.
That's my peak wedding season. So it's really hard for me to give that up in London and travel there unless I'm performing. But then again, I heard horror stories about people going there and just losing all their money because you've got to pay for a venue. And I'll tell you what, maybe I will interview someone about the show and we'll tell you about Edinburgh if you're thinking of going to Edinburgh. I have a few friends of mine who do this on a regular basis and they do Edinburgh and they make a lot of money. But we'll get into all of that in another interview. So
Let's go back to the
Let's go back to the
interesting
story,
stories
interesting
because
story,
that's the ones that you like.
I
So
get
on the
carried
cruise
away.
ships, I've met my wife. Not just 4 years
wow.
ago. I've met a beautiful Filipino girl, and I invited her to my show. She didn't know, but I prepared her a surprise. At one point in the show, I asked her to come on stage for a hypnosis moment. I asked her to close her eyes, and there were 900 people watching us, and that was the first time when I kissed her on the stage.
No
while
ways.
she was under hypnosis in front of 900 people, so I didn't know how she will react. She will slap me,
Yeah.
or she will not.
That sounds a bit illegal though.
And true, and it was Valentine's Day.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
That's a great story
That
to tell
is-
your kids, isn't it?
That's a great story to tell my kids. And this is how we end up together. I saw she's not upset about it. She just went, So right after the show, I got back to her. We kissed again just to confirm. And there we end up together. We have 3 kids in 4 years.
Oh, it's
Little
amazing.
Twins. So we have twin girls, which I can
wow.
use for magic. I can't wait. They will grow up. They'll be 16 and ready to go on stage. And one will disappear in France and will reappear in New York.
We can't give away secrets away, Albert.
Okay, we won't be talking about that. I have also a little boy which will take my place, but he will still have great assistance. Already
Wow.
trained. So this is
Oh,
another
that's amazing.
another amazing thing that happened towards because of magic. Everything in my life is because of magic, because I've never done anything else than magic. Everything I do, everything I talk, everything I read, everybody who I talk to, every subject that interests me, it's about magic, because it brings me so much happiness. There is nothing else more important, of course, than health and the general things,
Yeah.
but there's nothing more important for me than magic.
About doing something you love. I mean, for you it's magic, but for you sometimes maybe watching this if you want to do anything else. And I think that's a great lesson also to learn. Get out there and do what you love. Eventually you'll get good at it, and eventually you will start making a living out of it, and it just rolls in your whole life. And it's just wonderful to listen to someone like you who's really living your dream.
Yeah, I do.
And that's just great.
I do, because my big dream since I was a kid was one day to be in America, to go to Las Vegas and see Lance Burton, David Copperfield, to see the shows.
And you've done that.
And because of magic, I waited. It was almost 20 years, but then it happened. Not only that I go to Las Vegas and see this show, but I got to meet personally Lance Burton,
Wow.
which I told him the story when I was a little kid. I was watching him on one of those videos I was telling you about.
Yes.
And I was trying to figure out how he does some manipulation.
Wow.
And I figured out, and then I showed him the way I thought he's doing it. And he loved the story as much as you do. He was,
Wow.
and then he showed me how he actually did that manipulation bit. And Gary Darwin, which unfortunately died just past year, because we were in Gary Darwin's home, he said, Abel, you are a real magician. Lance never ever talk about magic with anybody else. He just doesn't like to. But you somehow opened him, and he started talking magic and show you tricks.
Yeah.
We never see him doing that.
That's so likable about you. I guess people watching this are probably sitting now and watching such a long interview, but they love you, and I'm sure that you love that.
Okay, thank you. So I also, just the second day after I met Lance Burton, I somehow got to meet David Copperfield.
Wow.
And I got invited by Chris Kenner's party, and then I got to take a photo and a picture with him. But you can imagine these little things for
Yeah,
me.
true.
I wish I could send the letter back into the past 20 years before
I know.
and tell that kid that was so
Yeah.
patient and loved magic so much, hey listen, just stay there,
And your dreams will come true.
your dreams will come true. This is all I wanted. Actually, I felt empty after this happened. I felt, okay, so this is what I was waiting my whole life. What am I going to do now?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just
I've done
something,
everything
yeah.
I wanted. This was my main thing,
Yeah.
to see the shows, only to be in Vegas, maybe not even see the shows, but just to
Yeah.
know that one day I'll be there. I come from Romania, one more time. The chances this to happen when I was a kid, they were very small,
Yeah.
close to impossible. But I desired it so much that
Well, that's so important.
Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. I mean, speaking about Lance Burton, when you saw on TV, when I started magic, I started quite late, but one of the videos that I used to watch was also the world's greatest magic shows. And one of the first magicians that I saw there was Jeff McBride. And I loved his act. You know the act I'm talking about, when Jeff, one of the famous acts, with the mask routine with the cards and stuff, the music really got me. And then I finally met Jeff. It was years ago, but I finally met him, and I was like, I still remember the day I finally met him. We were jamming together. Jeff was showing me stuff, and he's a great guy. And it's just wonderful to meet your heroes. And
it is.
yeah, it's so good. So getting back to some funny stories now, I want to know more about it now. I'm probably going to get you back on this interview.
Okay, I have a really funny story, but at the same time, it's like a little bit of black humor. It's
I
between,
like
but at the
dark
same
humor, I like
time,
dark humor.
it's real. So it's not something. It's just something that happened, and this is the way it happened.
Okay, let's listen to this.
As I've told you, I was doing magic in restaurants. And after that year, when I've been doing magic in Hungary, when I was 16, when I was 17, I left to Germany because most of the people who tipped me in Hungary, they were Germans.
Okay.
So I told myself, next time I'm going to go straight to their country to take their money. In one of these restaurants in Berlin, I go in a place in this restaurant, and at one table, I see a girl which unfortunately was disabled. And I could see she is in a wheelchair, the one with electric.
Yeah.
And I have a cousin, which is in the same unfortunate situation. And I knew that these people, because they don't have much movement, sometimes their hands are atrophied, the muscles, atrophied. Okay. And they cannot move maybe the way you want them to move. But at the same time, I was thinking, if I don't go there, then she will be sad because I didn't treat her like I treat everybody else in the restaurant. So what to do? Should I go and put her in the bad position where she cannot do what I ask her to do? Or not go and then make it even worse because the magician didn't see me because I'm disabled? You can imagine the situation.
Yeah,
so
I can imagine that.
I did go to one table and think about it, the second table, and I finished all 30 tables in the whole restaurant. And there was one table left with her. So I made myself the courage and I said, what can it be? I give it a chance, maybe I can make her happy. So there I go. I always start with my sponge balls. I take out my sponge ball, and it's black, so I don't know if you can see it. And I would show her it disappeared, and she was absolutely amazed. It appeared back. And then I asked her, because I knew, usually I ask people to open both of the hands, but I knew that one of the hands might be atrophied, or maybe she prefers to use one hand more than the other, because this is how their bodies are. So I asked her, would you please open your right hand for me? And when she opened the right hand, she did open it. It was easy for her to open it. But one finger was missing, this finger over here. It was gone. So you can imagine it looked like this, no, without the finger.
Oh my God.
So I was thinking, now, can you imagine, I didn't want to offend her anyways, but now there is one finger missing, so when I will ask her to close the hand around the sponge ball, you could see the ball in between the fingers, so she will feel even worse now. So I did ask her, oh, are you left-handed or right-handed, So we switched the hands. And whatever she would said, right and left, oh, okay, then let's open the other hand. And when she did open the other hand, fortunately she could open the other hand, there were two fingers missing.
You shouldn't be laughing at this when you're going.
So then we open your hand, and I placed it in the hand with the two fingers missing, just like a table, and I said, watch, and I made it disappear in my own hands.
Right.
Thank you very much, and I left.
I can imagine. I can relate to that.
I think I did some other tricks, but I never asked her. But I knew that she wanted me to do the sponge ball with her because she was watching over to the other tables, and she was so happy when she saw them open their hands and the things would happen in their own hands. So I gave my best. As I said, it's a sad and funny story at the same time.
Yeah, true.
It happens one more. The same thing. I asked one lady to open her hand, but her hand was so small, 2 centimeters.
Oh.
It was like a doll's with tiny little fingers, and it's so small. And she was serious about it. She was like waiting for me to put it on. But she was a smart lady. She did it on purpose. She knew I'm gonna freak out.
Oh, I see.
And she tried to be so serious, but then she suddenly started to laugh and said, no worries, it's okay, I'm used to it.
That's very kind of her.
She had a good humor.
I wouldn't be able to deal with it. I mean, I first of all, my magic's very different. I don't try to do a lot of things in people's hands. I would do some visual stuff for them, but yeah, I can relate to. I can imagine how you would be in that situation. But yeah, I think that's wonderful to hear. I don't think we need to talk about any advice. Do you have any advice for magicians watching this?
Follow your dream. I don't want to be. I think it's wrong for me to give an advice to other magicians because everybody has their own opinion.
Fair enough, that's it.
But one thing I really wish to see from a magician, try to make the magic seem real, because in my point of view, that's the whole point of magic, showing something impossible but in reality.
Okay.
So if you don't show it as something real, then it doesn't seem impossible.
Right. Right.
More real, that means more impossible. And from my experience, from the style I have, it brings more powerful reactions.
Yeah.
Which, because this is what I want, makes me more happy. But this is, as I said, it's suitable maybe just for me or for some of us. But this is what I would like to see.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that the magic community should strive to be better and better, and that's great. I mean, it's been a long interview, and I you know what, I'm happy I had this chat.
It was quite long.
Do you know what? I'm not going to try and edit much in this. I'm going to try and leave it as it is, pretty much raw. I want to try and touch things. I normally correct the R's and all that. I'm just going to leave it as it is because it's a wonderful interview, and thank you,
Abel,
awesome.
Thank you very
coming
much.
and chatting.
Thank you. It was great.
Great
We'll do
stuff.
it again next time. When
Let's
I have
do it.
More stories to share.
Message me if you want to hear more stories from Abel, and I will get him back on. That's amazing. Thank you. Enjoy yourselves wherever you are. Bye bye.